Julianna Peña gets the job done in a decision victory over Raquel Pennington at UFC 307. And people can say what they want about decisions and all of that, but I will just say that for these particular rankings, the one thing that I don't have a ton of rules, but one of the things is I can't just say, oh, well, I thought that person won, so they get it to go ahead in the rankings. It doesn't work that way. Win is a win. You did, well, while I may disagree with decisions or may disagree with whatever, the rules state that if you did enough for those three people to think you won, then you won, or at least two of them, then you won. So win is a win is kind of how we view this. Although there is, some context when you're helping out a little bit later. So at number 10, it is the loser of that bout, Raquel Pennington, as she drops from what was a top 5 spot. Have to keep her in the back part of the top 10 because of the run that she had up to winning that championship. But she doesn't really have the big wins that get you a spot still in like the top 5 or even the top 7 in the pound for pound after losing a championship. She like most of the big names she's fought, she's kind of lost to. So I do think that she deserves still to be on this list, but I do think that 10 is a fine spot for her. Obviously, I think that I put her there. At number 9, Tatiana Suarez. And I know I just said wins and losses matter and just gave that whole thing. This is projecting a little bit because I, for a while, have felt that this was the most talented fighter in maybe even all of women's MMA. And she just cannot stay healthy and cannot get the fights and cannot get up to that level to finally validate her talents with a championship. But I still think she's really good. And she still has a good resume. It's just spaced out a little bit. And so I have to have her at number 9. I have to have her on this list, but we can't have her higher. At 8 and 7, a couple fighters are going to be fighting in Edmonton next month, as it is Rose Namajunas taking on Erin Blanchfield in what should be a really fun fight. Namajunas is at 8, Blanchfield is at 7. They both have strings of very good victories. Blanchfield a little bit longer than Namajunas, I believe. But Rose, obviously, an incredible resume before that. So both of these fighters deserving to be on this list. At 6, it's Alexa Grasso. She had a couple of wins over Valentina Shevchenko, or a win and a draw, anyway. It was a convincing enough loss to knock her out of the top spot, and from the top spot down to 6. So there is that. I do think she was at 1.7, and then the Pennington loss bumps her back up a little bit here, but it was still convincing enough and concerning enough that she's going to need a couple impressive wins to move back into the top 5. A top 5 spot currently held by Yao Xiaonan, who comes in at 5. Again, a lot of very impressive wins, and just these next couple are just very simple. Xiaonan and Fiorot, both of them maybe don't necessarily have like the championship whatever yet, and in some cases championship losses, but it's still, again, it is a talent thing, and there are a lot of other wins that kind of get you into these spots. So that's why they're at 5 and 4 for me. At 3, it's Julianna Peña. I talked some shit. I've never been overly impressed with this particular fighter, and then the way she goes about some other things, but that's now 2-time champion, which doesn't happen a whole lot, especially given the way that she lost to Amanda Nunes in that second bout. For her to get back to the top of the mountain now, regardless of situation, is impressive, and so she comes in at 3. At 2, it's Zhang Weili, who has been just a wrecking machine, going through challenger after challenger after challenger, working her way into the top. So she comes in at 2, but at number 1, and this one, it's going to take a lot to change it. She is back on top of the mountain. Valentina Shevchenko gets her championship back earlier this summer in a win over Alexa Grasso, so she stays in the very tippy top. But Julianna Peña, with a win at UFC 307, moves into the top 3.